Heroes. I'm David Jacoby. We are Jalen Jacoby. What is it that we do?
Though? We give the people what they want.
We have a huge show today. We have a complete shakeup with the head coach and front office of the Boston Celtics. We have the Lakers getting waxed by the Phoenix Suns in Game 5, setting up LeBron in elimination Game 6. But we have to start this show with Denver versus the Portland Trail Blazers. It was Nikola Jokic, that man on the right, that was doing everything. He was scoring, he was setting up his teammates, and he got the Nuggets the double overtime victory despite a Herculean, otherworldly effort from Dame Lillard. Jalen, what do you think about Dame's 55 points and 12 threes?
Of course we're going to acknowledge our king Jokic, but Dame Lillard, NBA Jam style, was on fire. The only player in the history of the NBA in a playoff game to have over 50, get 10 dimes, and make at least 10 threes. Doing it off the dribble, doing it off the catch, doing it in the clutch, doing it off the glass. Dame Lillard was on fire like MOP. The problem was he didn't get enough help.
No.
And Jacoby, I was born in the early 70s, and watching great players go off like this in the playoffs and lose the game, it was kind of reminiscent of something that I watched when I was little. Michael Jeffrey Air Jordan playing against the Boston Celtics. Between the legs, doing that to my guy Larry. You know I hated seeing that happen to Larry Joe, my guy. But sometimes I dream that he is me. And this is when Michael Jordan started to become, as we now consider, a GOAT. And great players do this in the playoffs, and sometimes they come up short. That's what we saw happen with Dame Dollar last night.
It really is, and usually Dame gets more help than he had last night, but if you put up that full screen again and you look at the numbers, the comparison between his solo production and his teammates, look at the field goal percentage, look at the three-point percentage. The rest of his team only had 5 more assists than he did, and it just felt like he needed a little more from CJ. Nurkic just seems to foul out against Jokic every time he's on the floor. However, this series is not over. It's only 3-2. They go to Portland for Game 6. This series is not over, and we're going to see more Dame, especially at home, as this series move on. What a performance from Dame Lillard last night. Like, I was just sitting on my couch in absolute awe of what this man does. And I was so glad that he was doing what he was doing on one channel, because on another channel, the Lakers were getting waxed by the Suns. Absolutely waxed from the opening tip. You see there's only 1 star for the Lakers, there's 3 for the Suns. That's what it felt like last night. Jalen, this was a wild result. They didn't just lose, they got waxed. What do you think that means for this series moving forward?
It means that a team coming from the 7th or 8th seed has never won an NBA championship, as I continue to tell you, because there's no room for error. And once Anthony Davis goes out, you need LeBron James to be Jason Tatum against the Nets. You need LeBron James to be Dame Lillard against the Nuggets. You don't need him passive offensively, getting turnovers earlier in the game, while Devin Booker was scoring 18 points in the first quarter, and the entire Laker team was scoring 10 points in the second quarter. Dennis Schroeder and KCP had 0 points combined in the game.
Wow.
LeBron made 6 threes, but you know what he needed to be doing? Attacking that painted area right there, playing with aggression. And you know what else I saw? Multiple possessions. When the Suns got a rebound, or when the Suns got a stop or a turnover, it was 4-on-3 going the other way. It was 5-on-4 going the other way. And LeBron was in the back court like Kareem when he turned 45 and he's playing with the Lakers. And it was showtime. It was like, if y'all gonna go ahead and do the break, y'all do it. But other than that, we gonna wait for El Capitan to cross half court. Except LeBron was doing that on defense. And you saw Cameron Payne making plays. The Phoenix Suns playing confident. CP3 left in the third quarter, only had 9 points. Injuries are gonna determine what happens. If the Lakers get a healthy AD, I say they win game 6 and they win game 7. If he's hobbled in any way, shape, or form, the Phoenix Suns will advance.
Well, this series just got extremely interesting, and after the game, LeBron James went the tunnel early, but he still talked after the game. Let's listen to the King.
We got our ass kicked. I mean, it's just that simple. They got to whatever they wanted to get to in this game, and we got to be better, obviously, if we want to force a game 7. So, I mean, they pretty much just kicked our asses. I mean, there's nothing else really to say.
Jalen, what do you think about the resigned LeBron James after Game 5?
I think by the end of the third quarter, there was no AD, no LeBron, or CP3. And the Suns were waxing the Lakers. That's what you call surrendering. That's what happened. And again, whether AD plays or not, LeBron still got to go and be dominant. We need MVP level dominance from LeBron Jacoby. This can't be like 25 points and 7 assists LeBron. This got to be 35 point, 10 assists, 10 rebound type of LeBron, or they're going to lose to the number 2 seed in the Western Conference. They are on the ropes, sir.
They really are. And I remember you saying that yesterday at this exact same time about what we need from LeBron. We obviously didn't get it. However, in his defense, it felt like he saw the score and he made a business decision. He's like, you know what? I'm a downshift into second gear and save my energy for when we're in the Staples Center in Game 5, and hopefully I will have AD back. That series is really interesting, and like the Blazers-Nuggets series, that one's not over. However, the Celtics-Nets series is all the way over. In Game 5 last night, the Nets got an easy win against the Celtics, but Jalen Rose, that's not the news today. The news today is what's happening with the Celtics front office and coaching position. Brad Stevens is moving into the front office. Danny Ainge looks to be moving on from the franchise. What do you think about this fallout from this season from this team?
I think the Celtics have had the most draft picks since 2015 in the NBA. Made the conference finals with the youngest team in the history of the league and wasn't able to expand on it. Watch the Raptors and the Heat both win the East. Watch the Nets become a super team led by initially a domino of Kyrie Irving, who was once a member of the Boston Celtics, said he was going to stay, lost him. He recruits KD basically, and now they add Harden. The Celtics lose Scary Terry. They lose Gordon Hayward. Now you start reaching for Fournier to try to get some scoring. But here's the ultimate couple of points I want to make. Danny Ainge lost so many cool points around the league, Jacoby, when a lot of his old interviews became unearthed recently, and he talked about dismissing what LeBron James and Steph Curry had to say off the floor. That rubbed a lot of people, in particular those in his locker room, the wrong way. You saw Jaylen Brown's interview. Well, we kind of need to talk about how this should play out. And then we saw the Kyrie Irving incident where the fan threw the bottle at him. And Danny Ainge leading up into that situation saying he hadn't heard of anything like that and happening in his years at Boston. Well, for all of us that have covered the league, played in the league, we know that that's a flat out lie. Just see Bill Russell. How about that? And so I think he couldn't survive the Celtics not performing to expectations on the floor, couldn't survive the dynamics of being a GM in the league that's 75% black. And then lastly, there will also be people questioning whether Brad should get the opportunity as a GM. 8 seasons, okay, playoffs 7 years, won 55% of his games, not outstanding, made the conference finals 3 times, didn't really get over the hump. I saw Tatum elevate, I saw Brown elevate, but the Celtics, once they fleeced the Nets in that deal, you couldn't have told the rest of the world that they weren't going to at least win the East. That didn't happen. So a lot of conversations behind these moves are going to be had, but I'm not surprised about the Ainge move at all.
Well, Jalen, one thing that you didn't mention, which is very important for this franchise and their trajectory under Ainge, is They hit on a couple draft picks, but they also missed on many more draft picks that they had over the years when you look at the players that they drafted that are no longer contributing to that team. Jalen, I'm done talking over, and I'm so excited to watch the Nets move on to face what will be, in my opinion, the best second-round series. The Nets against the Bucks. Jalen, what are the keys to this powerhouse matchup?
Oh, it's easy. Giannis. That guy right there. Because who's going to get in his way? Who's going to slow him down? I like the young fella Claxton in the minutes that he's playing, but he ain't ready for Giannis just yet. And DeAndre Jordan, not only did he start making bank shots off of him last time, but he was bodying him and dunking on him. And Blake Griffin, you remember him dunking back-to-back times with his left hand? That's what Giannis about to be doing when he's guarding him in this series. So get ready for Giannis to be averaging 40 over 10 boards and be extremely dominant for the Bucks.
Jalen, I'm so excited for this series. Mainly, I'm so excited because you have the Bucks winning and I have the Nets winning, and we're both so entrenched in our feelings about this. For me, it's simple. The best players are in the Brooklyn Nets uniform. I love Drew Holiday. I love Chris Middleton. I love Giannis, but they can't hold a candle to the big three of the Nets. And you know what? They're not going to be able to stop Giannis. They're not going to even be able to stop Drew Holiday or Lopez, but no one can stop Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, and James Harden orchestrating it all. This is going to be a great series. I look forward to arguing about all of it with you over the next 2 weeks. But right now, we have a game tonight that we need to discuss, and that is the game between those two teams, the Hawks and the Knicks. And there's a little chatter before this one. We'll tell you what Clint Capella had to say about the Knicks' style of play right after this. Coming to you live above Pier 17, the South Street Seaport District of Manhattan, brought to you by Chase. Welcome back to Jalen and Jacoby. Jalen, it is do or die for the New York Knicks. And in advance of their Game 5 against the Hawks, here is what Clint Capella had to say about the Knicks' style of play.
We can push guys around too. We can talk as well. So what you going to do about it? And we can get a win with it. So what you going to do about it? We can do it too. We can be physical, but we can win games as well. And now we're coming to your home to win this game again. They send you on vacation.
He said, what you going to do about it? We're going to send you on vacation. Jalen, what do you think?
I think I need to get that blonde patch in my hair like Kwame and Capella. I think I need to do that. But in all honesty, if you actually look at the tail of the tape and the front line and the size of the Atlanta Hawks, with Capella and Collins and Gallinari and Hunter, they're taller and longer and more physical than the Knicks front line. That's what he's describing. And the Knicks got frustrated, as you see right there. But those guys have to find a way to keep their poise when they return home. You want to keep Bullock in the game. You want to keep Randall in the game, keep a level of discipline. I think they can find a way to get the next game tonight. I still anticipate that the Hawks, led by Trae Young, will advance in this series.
Jalen, it pains me to say this as someone who jumped on the Knicks bandwagon like 4 months ago. I completely agree. I would pick the Knicks tonight, and then in Game 6, I would pick the Hawks to close it out before it gets back to Madison Square Garden. But it's not over yet, Jalen Rose. It's not over yet. And one series that is definitely not over yet, tied at 2-2, is the series between the Clippers and the Mavericks. Quick recap. The Mavericks dominated Game 1 and Game 2, and the Clippers did the same in Game 3 and Game 4. What is the key to Game 5?
Here's the key to Game 5 for the Clippers. Each player grew taller when they saw the Lakers struggle the way they did last night.
What do you mean?
Because they now feel like their goals can happen. The Lakers get eliminated in the first round, and you're the Clippers. You get to be the king of LA for the next couple of weeks. It's your chance, baby. Kawhi been balling. PG been balling. Luka was hobbled in the previous game. You know they're paying attention. And by the way, you know what will be extremely disappointing in back-to-back playoffs? if we never see the Clippers and the Lakers face one another. Just think about that for a second. In back-to-back playoffs, we may not see the Lakers and the Clippers face one another. But if that guy gets healthy, anticipate a long season, because the kind of numbers Luka getting when he healthy have been outstanding. But where's Porzingis? Is he still a unicorn? Is he still a unicorn?
I don't think he's a unicorn anymore. He got a haircut.
Okay,
he's just a horse. He's just a maverick now.
So,
now he's just a maverick horse. He used to be a unicorn, got traded to Dallas, now he's just a horse.
Okay, so they're going to need him to go out there and be a contributing member to a dynamic duo to help Luka out.
Yeah, I think whoever wins Game 5 wins this series. I think we'll know very early just from Luka's body language where he is at. And if he's at 100%, they have a chance. If he is not, they do not. Jalen, we have some news from the National Football League. Today is sort of the first day where teams can trade players without taking salary cap hits. I would explain it, but it would take me like 30 minutes, and we don't have enough time. But I will ask you this. Julio Jones is on the trading block, as we heard from Julio Jones. And there's some reports from our colleagues, Diana Rossini, that the Seahawks have made an offer that includes a first-round pick. Jalen, the Titans are involved. Where do you want to see Julio Jones land?
I can't front. I want Julio to land somewhere where he and the other receiver can be a combination of two of the most physically opposing human beings to play wide receiver on the same team at the same time. And I'm not discounting A.J. Brown, except he doesn't have Russell Wilson. I want to see him and Metcalf line up for a lot of years. Imagine Russell Wilson get a chance to look at two of those guys on the same field at the same time, with Lockett also out there, getting up and down the field. You want to keep Russ happy? Do what you got to do to get Julio Jones in uniform. That's what I would be doing if I was the Seahawks.
Me too. I mean, when there's this discussion about Russell Wilson's unhappiness with the franchise that apparently was patched up according to Pete Carroll, one way to keep Russell Wilson happy is to give him one of the best receivers to ever play the game. It's not the protection that he wants, but when you have weapons like Lockett and Metcalf and Jones, you don't need the protection that he was asking for. Jalen, sometimes there are videos that are so amazing that you and I need to break them down in detail. It's time for you and I to go to the table. We've all seen this video by now. It comes from California, and there's a young woman, 17 years old, who sees her dogs in a confrontation with a bear. What does she do? She runs out, throws the bear over a fence. My dogs are so dead if that's me. They're dead if that's me. Sorry, dogs.
You know that joke is, if I'm in a dark alley with a bear, don't help me, help the bear. Right there, those dogs have been in trouble, trouble, trouble. I'd have been throwing stuff. I would have been yelling, I would have screamed, I would have called 911. But me physically run these feet and these hands to go push that bear, I'm not gonna be able to do it.
No chance. The question is, will the Wizards be able to get back into this series against the 76ers? Joel Embiid is hurt and hobbled, but will he be available? What will the Sixers do without him if they need to play without him? We'll talk about that and much more when we come back. You're watching Jalen Jacoby. She Euro stepped it. She Euro'd it.
That's a terrific shot, and this WNBA season has been terrific. Shout out to Rock Fam, Skylar Diggins, who've been balling. I see Brittany Griner catch the drop step and do the dunk the other night. The Phoenix Suns played well and they won, and the Mercury follow suit to represent.
Big shout to Kian Nurse and Jalen. We have another playoff game this evening that we need to set